Welcome back here on Prime Morning. If you just joined us here on the show, a very good morning to you. It's time for us to check the news portals and what they've reported this morning here on News Flash. And we're going to be starting off with the various newspapers that are here. The graphic is here with me, Daily Guide, and a couple of others that have come this morning. We're going to be looking at it. But if you're joining us for the first time, this is how we have that conversation here on the show. Now, you can send your contributions on our social media pages, and our WhatsApp line is also active as well. You can drop your comment over there on the issues that we're talking about this morning in terms of what the newspapers are reporting. Now, after we're done with the front page of the newspapers, we'll be delving into the conversations proper, and I've got in here the two political parties, the NPP and the NDC representatives, to help us discuss the major issues that are trending on the various social media portals this morning here on the show. So I'm going to start off with the Daily Graphic, and on the front page it says Accra street death trap for motorists, traffic lights dead, urban roads battles to keep them on, and that's the big story on the front page. The Daily Graphic is reporting on that. Attorney General inaugurates Registrar of Companies office in Kumasi. Page 16 and 17 has got a story. It's got Godfather captured over there on the front page. Oil fields to produce 120,000 barrels daily, Energy Minister says so. And that's the front page of the Daily Graphic. First one at the back page, it says Sunan Asogli supports emergency relief fund, flood victims, and also philanthropist helps 30,000 in Bumpurugu Yo, and that's also captured at the back page of the Daily Graphic. And some inside story: Buffer stock receives 100 million Ghana cedis to settle the debt. And a couple of weeks ago, they were picketing the office of the buffer stock, and well, they were promised that some of the monies would be given to them, and to avoid them going to picket again, 100 million Ghana cedis to settle the debts that are being owed the creditors. Now, Attorney General inaugurates Registrar of Companies office in Kumasi. That's also on the front page. You can read the full story in the middle page of the Daily Graphic. Now, UDS lecturer advocates increased investment in agriculture sector. That's some inside stories you can also find in the Daily Graphic today. The Daily Guide of this morning is also reporting on issues of power, and it says, let's keep NPP in power, says Baumia. And away from that, government begins payment of food suppliers. That's also captured in the Daily Guide, and that's the buffer stock situation over there. Oforiatta presents mid-year budget July 25th, and twin brothers on the run for killing friend. Very traumatizing situation over there. Aisha Wang ran illegal company, and that's also on the front page of the Daily Guide. Now, the back page says GFA is on course, and 10,000 Ghana cedis up for grabs for Homo Marathon winner. We are going to have the good time. That's also captured at the back page, which of course has Messi over there with this new team that is found in the US. And Man U agree Onana deal. That's also at the back page of the Daily Guide this morning. Now, some entertainment stories. Benjamin Forjo Ministries launches Invasion 2023, and Mr. Logic tackles Ajete Anang over cheating brouhaha. I'm the only Christian in my family, Emmanuel Abe says so, and that's some entertainment news. And OMC's increased fuel prices. Government launches GSDF to empower SMEs, and 1,000 girls in North receive ICT training. It's got the communications minister captured over there. Away from that, let's go to the Chronicle. The Chronicle this morning on the front page says, I will replace Rawlings as your godfather, Alan tells Voltarians. And a Cocoa Board to exchange 7.9 billion bonds on new terms. And I'm talking about Ghana cedis. CJ took new gladding sats of JUSAC members. And yes, there's been some increments over there as well. So obviously, that would be a good news. Now, slain police officer laid to rest. He's got the IGP in salute when he also gave a speech at the funeral. And he promised him that the rest of the guys who are out there will definitely be brought to book. And so, very, very sad situation over there. But we're hoping that some of these issues are very much tackled, so we don't have to be going to these very, very sad stories again. Now, Buzia comes to life at Hotel Wawa, and Bukansa put that together. Page 14 has got the story on that. You can read about it in the Chronicle this morning. Australia and New Zealand set to host historic Women's World Cup, and Australia criticized World Cup gender pay disparity. That's the Chronicle this morning. The new Crusading Guide is here. On the front page, it says that remove disturbing lottery and betting taxes in mid-year budget. CSBO urges government, and Alan Kyeremanten touts sacrifice in NPP. Court of Appeal judgment on why Kennedy Japan's application was thrown out, and polling and electoral executives will lead my campaign. Akuto Afriye says so. Now, Michael Kyeremanten picks nomination form to contest Esikuma Brakwa primaries. That's also captured in the new Crusading Guide. Minerals Commission CEO commended for effective regulation of the mining industry. That's the front page of the new Crusading Guide. Now, the finder this morning says that NPP's 2024 victory hinges on candidate message and campaign style. Alan Kyeremanten says so. And Kusia Menu files nomination to contest Denton primaries. Lands Ministry denies engaging land guards to protect state lands. We'll be looking at that major issue here on the segment. Now, pass the anti-LGBTQ bill without further delay. Moderator Global Evangelical Church says so. Page 5. Let's go to the story on that. 100 million Ghana cedis GSDF grant disbursed to 105 enterprises for industrialization. That's the find out this morning. The very last one for me, and then we'll get into the conversation, will be the business analyst. And the business analyst this morning says the increased concessional financing to commensurate with challenges facing developing countries of Oriata to World Bank and MPC to hold policy rates steady at 29.50%, lending rates to remain unchanged. Akufo-Addo leaves for Portugal on state visit. Jubilee Field producing over 100,000 BOPD, and also reviewed salaries for JUSAC approved, and that's the good news over there as well. A couple of months ago, we had to talk about them as well because they felt that some changes that were supposed to have happened in their salaries were not happening, and they were not happy about that. But the good thing is that that has also been resolved, and so that's a positive news over there. All right, so those are the front pages of the various newspapers we have this morning here, and we're going to be delving into the major issues that we're talking about today. But before that, let me introduce to you my guests in the studios. And from the NPP, National Communication Team member, I have over here Osman Kariyama, who's joining us this morning for the very first time. Good morning, how are you doing?
Good morning.
Great to have you here on the show. And Comrade John Bambero is finance expert, is communication team member for the NDC. He's also joined us this morning for the first time, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good to have you on the show.
Good having me too.
Great. All right. So we're going to be looking at the major issues that have come up, and we want to start with the issue of Professor Kyeremanten, who's urging the government to actually train Ghanaians in policy formulation and implementation. Now, the professor, who is actually the head of the governance when it comes to the United Kingdom, and I'm talking about the Commonwealth, is actually urging government to try as much as possible to train Ghanaians, use our human resources our resources, natural resources, to train human resources, and making sure that we're able to implement some of the policies that we make, because he believes that if you have policies and you don't have the right people to talk or implement the policies, it will definitely fail. I'll start with you, Kariyam. If you want to start for me too, I would appreciate, because you are coming from that, from government as well. So,
thank you very much. Good morning once again, and good morning to my friend in the studio. Actually, this is my first time in studio discussion team. I actually want to thank my national. And I'm coming from the Upper East. I would like to extend my regards.
Try and speak up for me, okay?
Yeah, I would like to extend my regards to the people of Upper East and the entire NPP fraternity in general. Yeah, Professor Kyeremanten talks about policy formulation and implementation. How important is it to educate the citizenry? I think it's very important, because when citizens are well informed, decision making becomes so easy, and then participation in debates rather than arguments that actually brings about whatever is supposed to be discussed clearer for people to understand the way forward as far as our governance system is concerned.
Yeah.
I will actually support that direction of actually training our citizenry, letting them become so much informed about government policies. In his statement, he says that policy formulation is 30%, and 70% is implementation. And a lot of our policies are fine policies, but the implementation is where we always have problems. So to him, he thinks that government should invest much resources into training a lot of
the human resources.
Yes. And then policy, as we look at it, a lot of time, as far as this democratical dispensation is concerned, since the Fourth Republic, we have had a lot of very fine and brilliant policies that are being churned out. And you go to the ground, then you realize that there are a lot of problems, just little bits of problems, and how to tighten some of the screws to make sure that we come out with good results that will have positive impact on the people. A lot of people face challenges, especially the formally implementers. So government actually investing resources will go a long way to actually help us in that direction. So I will actually urge government to consider that, because it's a very brilliant way to go. You see, but one problem is we have a majority of our populace that are illiterates. That's where the problem is. But this government has envisaged something like this. And that is why we think that in 30 to 40 years to come, Ghana should have at least 70 to 80% of its population being literate. And that is why we said in our educational sector, no one should be left behind.
And that's the reason why free SHS came.
It is part of the problem. It is part of the processes. Because an educated populace is actually a striving democratic populace. When you look at most of the countries that attained independence with Ghana, you look at their literate population, they have a very high number, about 80 to 90%. What about us here in Ghana? That has always been our problem. So if policy formulation becomes part of our subject, daily discussions, go to some of our institutions, it should be part of the curriculum.
But that comes with quality education as well. Do we have quality education right now? As much as we have free SHS, is it the kind of quality of education that people want to see?
Quality education is subjective. Most times people talk about quality education, and someone like me, I always ask, what are some of the fundamentals?
When the students are able to have the correct books, textbooks to study, when they have the correct facilities to study. If we say somebody is studying ICT in school and the person does not have the necessary or effectively have equipment that will help the person in gaining better, access to computer and all of those things, it's not quality education then.
Yeah, today the government is rolling out a lot of programs and projects in our various institutions, whereby today a lot of resources are made available to both teachers and students. And I believe this is part of quality, because you see, when you look at the educational disparities between the North and then the South, a lot of resources are made available down here. But it is not the fault of government. It depends on, it's actually stems from where we came from when we were attaining independence. And then you look at it, there are some areas that you will go, and accessing school is even a problem. But in the urban areas, resources and a lot of materials are made available. And today, so government came in to say, no, a lot of things are going on wrong. And we cannot leave the underprivileged guy in the village somewhere in Upper East. Let's bring them apart. Let's make sure that everyone feels the same sees him or herself the same. So let's roll out projects that people will understand that yes, someone in Accra, probably in Presec, and someone in Big Boss, that's Bolgas Senior High School, are all at par as far as the academic calendar and then resources are concerned. So
you think in that area the government has cheated a lot?
Government has cheated tremendously a lot. Tremendously a lot. Unless you are coming, from that part of the country, then if you know what used to happen in the 90s and what is happening now, you will actually clap for government. Whatever government is ruling as far as our educational system is concerned. Seriously. You see, so when you look at a lot of government's projects are actually geared towards giving our population, the necessary education that will let people appreciate whatever government is going on. To do away with misinformation, it is when people are not educated, when people don't know how policies are, ideated and then implemented. That is why some people move from somewhere, go there to misinform them about a lot of things. So people normally get a lot of things wrong. And then when they are communicating as far as some of these policies or projects are concerned, you can just see that the person has deviated because the person has been misinformed. And a well-educated citizenry, takes part in the decision-making process as far as the development of their communities and societies are concerned. You see, you go to our various, MMDCs, municipal assemblies, a lot of things are going on there. Even the people that they are even supposed to, serve, don't even know what is going on in the assemblies. A lot of projects come and assembly is implementing. Nobody even cares whatever is happening because the person is not well informed about whatever is going on. And when those people are informed, they hold their leadership to account their stewardship. So look, formally, the policy formulations, by training our citizenry to come to terms with it and get informed, will actually go a long way to help in enhancing our democratic processes and actually do away with misinformation and actually deception, especially in our political, environment. More often than not, it is always at this time of our, of our political dispensation, especially election years, that a lot of these misinformations are being churned out. People try to play down on government policies, and there are counter. So when the people, the grassroots, actually know what is going on, it will be difficult for you to come and then deceive them, misinform them. You see, there's one case in particular.
Okay, wrap up for me so I can take.
There's one case in particular about this NIE cuts. There was one MP from the north who went down to the grassroots and telling his constituents that the government is rolling out this project to actually tax even the poor old lady sitting in her room, because if you have the Ghana card, you will be taxed because there's a tax ID attached to it. And it was a campaign message. This is total misinformation.
Campaign message from the NDC?
Yes. A prominent person. So if people are well educated enough to know the importance of the Ghana card, then you come and stand before them to actually misinform them as far as this thing is concerned. They will throw questions at you.
Okay. John.
Yes, sir.
You agree with him?
Well, he has made his point. First of all, let me greet your viewers and my constituent in Fantiman and the people of Central Region. The issue that's on the table is very key, especially with regards to how we will drive our progress as a country. And so policy making or policy formulation and implementation matters most when you want to progress in life. Before I delve into the topic, he made mention of the fact that during election campaigns, people made a lot of misinformation or churn out disinformation out there just to deceive voters. If we are to talk about those who advocate for that deceitfulness and propaganda just to couch people into voting for them, then automatically it's the NPP. I mean, about 2-3 weeks ago, we saw what happened in Asanoff. So many things, in addition to doling out 200 Ghana cedis and all that. It all boils down to the fact that they want to deceive voters. So if you're talking about those who take advantage of the system to pollute the mindset of the voters, then it is right at your doorstep. I'm talking about the NIA. As we speak, the NIA, we don't know what is happening. Because as we speak, close to 8 million Ghanaians have still not got their cards.
Yes, those whose cards are ready and they have not also picked them up.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to pick them up. And it's not because the NPP
I am talking about over 8 million Ghanaians who have not gotten their cards. That is what I'm talking about. And they are also asking them to solely use the Ghana card to secure what is called to register the SIM, which it's in contradictory to the LI 2006 that was enacted in 2011, because there was a specifically documents that are required and not basically the Ghana card alone. And so if you talk about the NIA, I think you should just address the issue of people not getting their cards and others who have also even misplaced their card and wanted to get a new one and not getting it. And all
well, there are processes in getting a new one.
The process, how long it is going to take?
If you're not
talk
using
about,
the process
talk about
to get
the amount
one,
of money.
How do you blame the NPP for that?
Talk about the amount of money that we have pumped into that venture. Over $1.2 billion. Something that Kennedy Japo even said that if you go to India where they are having over 1.2 billion population, they use little over 50 million to do that. We have quoted $1.2 billion, and yet people are still complaining. And government is behaving as if it is the fault of the citizenry. So when you talk about some of this, you shouldn't even go there, because it's a great indictment on the government of the day. Now let's get into the major issue. What is policy formulation and implementation? Are we talking about sectorial policies that that fall within the broader perspective or the broader mainstream, or if you like, the broader umbrella? For example, because you cannot say that education policy is within an economy. Okay, so you should be able to get a policy that will help the sectors of the economy to also triumph. Because when the education sector is growing so well, as he is claiming, we have to see an effective impact on ordinary Ghanaian. Go to the schools. I'm sure he's a teacher. Shortage of food. You ask the question about quality. Today, the stakeholders who should form part of policy formulation are not being invited. Those who even have the balls to talk. For example, here in the case of former Vice Chancellor for University of Cape Coast, who had the opportunity to say that there should be a blueprint, because you cannot implement certain policies without guidelines. There should be a guidelines to be able to determine what are to be done this particular period of time, what are to use to measure what you have done so far and all that. So you'll be able to address the issue about shortage of food, because you anticipate that in the next so and so year, this is what you are going to face. These are the solutions. This is how we are going to solve it. This is where you are going to get the resources from. Then you talk about a strong policy. But when you do it, somebody will say biara biara anyhow. This is where we have the problem, that today students are sleeping at very unconducive places. Students are will go to school for 3 weeks, come back home, spend about more than 3 months. As we speak, the Form 2 students are in their house. So if you are living in my village where you cannot afford extra class for your child, it means that you just have to be there just like that up until they will resume school. You understand? So policy formulation should be well thought through. You should engage the researchers. You should engage the stakeholders, like the educationists. You should engage so many people that this is what you have to do. Bring your your views, your opinion, so I will be able to, form a strong base for what we are going to do.
So you think the free SHS failed because the professor said that if you don't have good people to implement it, then it means that it will become a failed policy.
Exactly.
In your submission, do you mean that the free SHS is a failed policy?
That is the reason why even the IMF, together with the president, said that they are going to review.
Review doesn't mean that it's a total failure.
So when they say that review doesn't mean that it's a failure, why did we say that? Why did President Mahama, when President Mahama said that he's going to review, they said he's going to cancel it? If review doesn't mean that it's a failure, there's a problem with the policy. A policy without the blueprint. You can just show me the blueprint of the for the free SHS. There's none, and this is the reason why we are facing these challenges. Now the issue is we need to get. I agree with the professor of getting policy and making sure that this policy drives the economy. One major policy that we need to have is the economic policy. In NDC, every single policy that has impacted positively on Ghanaian economy is coming from the NDC. Since 1992, we brought PAMS card. That is the program of action to mitigate social cost adjustment. This is to reduce poverty within our hinterlands and then the less endowed communities, giving small or micro loans to individuals that today this individual could not access to micro loans. Do you know why? Because over 423 savings and loans, microfinance, universal banks, trust companies, mutual funds have been collapsed. So if you come to my community like Brewa, where they have Parkway Syndrome, today they cannot access Parkway Syndrome. They have collapsed Parkway Syndrome for no reasons. At the time that they assess the total net asset or total asset of Parkway Syndrome, just to based on that to determine whether or not it should be revoked or not, they realize that Parkway Syndrome has what it takes. But yet, because of political victimization, it has affected. They didn't think about the one who is working there. They didn't think about the individual who has his money in there that is basing on to do small business. Now, was this a policy? NDC brought this PAMS card. We further brought a structure adjustment program. We also brought economic recovery program. Currently, we brought when we were engaging IMF as to what they would do to help to ensure fiscal and monetary discipline within the setting. We didn't go to the IMF with empty hands like them. We went to IMF with homegrown policy. So it is something that we have already prepared ourselves. You understand? At the time that inflation is not in the high heavens as we are speaking now, because today Ghana is the 4th country in Africa in terms of galloping inflation. We are behind Zimbabwe, Sudan, and it's so pathetic. You understand? So when your policy is economic policy is so strong and robust, it will affect every sector of the economy. So first of all, we should consider which policy are we implementing. Is it the economic policy? They have not been able to give or formulate any economic related policy. If they have one, they should tell us. And right. If the prof or professor is making assertion that we should just give students chances to study some of these things in school, students have been studying policy formulation in one way or the other with with their courses that they've been or programs that they've been offering in school. You understand what I'm saying? But the point is, it is central government which must ensure that these policies have been implemented, and this is what we are not getting from this guy. It is the reason why today we are under the roof of IMF. It is the reason why today our debt to GDP ratio is more than 95%. When we were doing 56%, Baumia said that we have borrowed recklessly. Today, where is it? Where is Baumia? He doesn't even talking about. He's not talking about debt to GDP ratio again. Where is the CD? Kennedy Japan told Baumia that he shouldn't even call himself as a strategist, because as at the time that the NPP took office, the dollar was 4 cedis. Even I disagree with Kennedy Japan because it was 3 Ghana cedi 90 pesos in December 2016. But he said that today, as we speak, in nominal term, it is now 12 Ghana cedis. You should talk about a devaluation. He said that his investment has reduced to 60 billion. That
right.
should tell you that if you have proper policy and you have people who have Ghana, the country at heart, and they intend to implement policies that will drive all the sectors in the economy, we wouldn't find ourselves where we are now. So I'm sure that Prof is advising the government to start looking. But do they even have time? Because they have just in less than 2 years to exit power.
All right, we'll move on to the next topic, and we're looking at the lands ministry now. They said the government has not engaged in land gas. There was some allegations that the lands ministry actually uses land gas to retrieve encroached lands. Now the Ghana Police Service was also mentioned. The Ghana Army was mentioned. Now the two of them have all released statements that indicated that they don't engage in anything like that. Now the lands ministry is saying that they have an agency which is more or less like a security agency that helps them in retrieving some of these lands that have been encroached on. I'll try and see if we can get the press statement that were released, and so we can just read a few of the things that they've said in the press release. But let me come to you, Kyeremanten. Please start for me. When I get the press release, I read a few of what they have stated in there.
You see, before I delved into that, I realized that my friend has deviated a little bit. But that is,
deviated on purpose.
Yes,
or
because
it's just that he doesn't understand what we're talking about. What the Prof is saying.
Prof Kyeremanten is talking about the importance of policy formulation and education on our citizens. How important is it? Making our citizens become well informed. He rather went in to question. Let me say, subtly try to question the Prof's, call.
Did I?
Because
I didn't.
He
indicated I agree with Prof.
Importance of policy on our citizenry. You see,
I didn't agree with him.
I understand. He went in to talk about the NIA. In your regime, you try implementing NIA. You issued cards, and then you cancel them. A whole chunk of Ghana's, the state's money went down the drain. Simple NIA cut, you couldn't even implement it. Yes, government has chalked successes since it assumed power in 2017. And that one is a fact in every sector. You see, he talks about students sleeping in unhygienic places and all that. I don't know where he gets that one from. Probably from their ranking member from Parliament, Clement Apak, when they went to Ghana School and actually tried to deceive the people, but they were exposed. You see, the IMF came out and said there will be a review on some of government flagship programs.
You have to be quick for me, so we have a few other issues to talk about. So let's not
specifically mention, the free SHS. You see, so I understand my brother's, issue. But here is the case. It is the same NDC that ran to town. The government is engaging land guards. But that same particular company came out and actually debunked that assertion and said they have been in that business since 2012. During their regime, they have been doing that. So if their members of parliament have even forgotten that it was their government that engaged their agency, it is rather unfortunate. You see, and it is so sad that an agency like Enoch Holdings will be described as a land guard organization. Now, we have always come out to say that, let's help our private sector to actually strive. It's just like debt collection agencies or companies. People and organizations engage them to go about, to go and reclaim their debt from people. These are agencies that are being set up to actually offer services to their employers. So if an agency, or should I say a company like Enoch Company, which was been engaged since 2012, to actually go and help government reclaim some of its lands, to protect government property, to make sure that government lands are secured, and a whole group of people who are supposed to implement laws for us will not do due diligence, will not go into the matter, very well to come out, but rather go on or go to market saying that it is a group of land guards that government has engaged. They have always latched into every story to paint government black, make government look bad, because we all know the name land guards, whatever perception people hold with it. So bad.
So this is a propaganda from the NDC, is that what you're saying? It
is a propaganda. Every information, you see, politics is all our perception. They throw that one to the populace. And if you are not careful enough, then you take it hook, line, and sinker. But I am happy that that particular organization, or should I say agency, came out and actually debunked it and said that it was even during the time of the NDC. I don't know whether it was when before the late Prof died or after, or after his death, because it was in 2012, but specifically it wasn't stated that they were engaged to do or go into these businesses. So I would want to urge people to always do due diligence rather than trying to mar the reputation and images of organizations or companies like this that are actually going on to offer services to the states. As far as you and I are concerned, we know what is going on in this country as far as government lands are concerned. Land encroachment. So if government thinks that, oh, these people are expertise in this, then the government engages them. And successive, it has been transitioned from the NDC to the NPP. And it is the same MDC that is now running to town saying that, oh, this company is a land guard organization or a group of land guards that the government has engaged. You know how it goes to tarnish the image of government. And that is what they are always interested in.
Okay.
But it is rather unfortunate. Let's always do due diligence rather than trying to destroy the image and then the reputation and integrity of companies that actually come to offer services to the to governments and the nation as a whole.
Okay, there's a video that I want us to take a look at so we can appreciate the nature of the situation. But this is the Ghana Armed Forces and the press statement that they put out there. It says the Ghana Armed Forces has monitored with dismay a news story alleging that it uses the services of land guards to reclaim its encroached lands. Now, Ghana Armed Forces wishes to assure all well-meaning Ghanaians that the allegation is false and should be treated with the contempt it deserves. It's unimaginable that Ghana Armed Forces cannot predict its own lands, but rather indulge in an illegality by relying on the services of land guards prescribed. So the Ghana Armed Forces deems it as regrettable that the news reports emanated from unsubstantiated allegations made by the Chief Director of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Professor Patrick Agbe Signally, at a parliamentary committee meeting on 10th of July 2023. Now, we wish to stress that this allegation, which was repeated by Honorable Alassane Sueni, Member of Parliament for Tamale North, to the media is false and should be ignored. The Ghana Police Service has also put a similar one out there, also debunking the whole, situation. What do you make of it? He thinks it's a propaganda from the NDC.
Well, that is what they will always say, because you see, when they are caught panned down and they try to say things to equalize or just to neutralize the content of that issue. In fact, the MPP is, I don't know whether they think they are the only people living in this country. We have voted for you, and we expect the President of Ghana, as has been enshrined in the Constitution, to protect the nation's property, including government lands. And so if a member of parliament, upon a statement made by a chief director for lands commission, that the military somewhat engage the services of land guards to protect state lands, and he was expressing shock at this revelation. You sit here and lambast the member of parliament who is doing a yeoman job, letting Ghanaians know what somebody that has been paid or been paying with taxpayers' money telling us You should be just ashamed of yourself. Maybe you don't understand the issues. It is not as if Suhuyini said, I saw land guards protecting state lands. That is not what Suhuyini is saying. They met the chief director, and the chief director revealed to them that that is what is happening. In any case, it will serve every single individual in this country good if the Ghana Armed Forces, which I trust their worthiness and their competency, to extract or launch a full-scale investigation into this matter. As we speak,
beyond releasing the press statement to debunk.
What did they say? They only debunked it. But what is the content of what the chief director said? That is most important thing.
They need to investigate
exactly.
that further.
It calls for investigation. In any advanced country, it is not about you issue. Anybody can just issue a debunking statement that, oh, it is not true. And we just let it lie like that. No. They are state lands. They are to benefit you and I, including my brother sitting here. They are to benefit the generation yet unborn. So it's a serious matter that we are talking about here. You should rather clap for Suhuyini for being a statesman. Because had it not been him, we would have even heard that it is somebody who had said that. And this person is in charge of Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources. He's a chief director. He is saying that, now let me quote the man. He said that he says that military engage, he said that he said his ministry, the police and the military engage land guards to reclaim and protect lands at a fee. At a fee. Nobody has talked about privatization. If you have really engaged in privatization, would you have been at the...
That's an agency. They clarify that over
but he's talking about the fact that maybe that
they have engaged over the period.
The point he was trying to make was that, oh, the NDC doesn't always speaks ill about privatization. If you indeed believe in privatization, we wouldn't have found ourselves at the doorstep of IMF. Because when privatization stands so well and firm, it drives the economy. We wouldn't be experiencing unemployment rate of 14%. So don't even go there. But the point is that the the chief director has confirmed this. The onus lies on the Ghana Armed Forces and the police service to do investigation about it. Call him. In fact, Suhuyini has even said that they are asking the minister in charge of minerals and land. Yes, to come and answer questions in respect to what the chief director is saying. So I am of the view that Suhuyini did not say things off head. He revealed it based on the meeting that they had with the chief director and upon investigation or upon his own assertion. It was out that the chief director said Ghana Armed Forces police engage the services of land guards at a fee, which will even indicate how much are we even spending on them. Because if for anything at all, once it is money allocating to a certain individual, it should be budgeted for. If it is a private company, as he is claiming, was it any tendering processes? Did they invite companies, and at what price quotation? These are the questions. It's not about somebody issuing statement. So we are calling for thorough investigation, just like any other matter. But we know that government will just turn, deaf ears on it. But the truth of the matter is that the court of public opinion are listening to us and watching us, and thinking that we should go the same way the minority is asking the government to do. So it is not as if somebody is peddling falsehood as he wanted to divert the issue. Someone who is working at the ministry, in fact, it is not just an ordinary person, a chief director, claiming that, and a professor, of course, claiming that they engage the service of land guards. And you claim that they are private entities. Is that not the case?
the private agency that they've employed their services over
how
the
many
period.
private agencies?
In fact, it was stated in the
So how many
ministries.
private agencies have they been engaged? And how did they engage them? Did they go through the procurement processes, or if you like the trending processes as it used to be, or as supposed to be pursuant procurement acts? These are some of the questions. You have even brought further some regulations. Do you understand the point I'm making? Because it is state asset and we need to protect it, whoever, whether you are in government or not. Because tomorrow, my children's children must benefit.
Okay.
We know government officials selling lands to themselves. Have you forgotten Achimota Forest?
The issue
late
of the late Sir John
arrogating vast lands that is meant for a future use to himself. What has happened? So even if, assuming without admitting that Honorable Suyini was only alleging, we have had a clear case of people allocating state lands to themselves. And clear example is Sir John. May he so rest in peace. So what is he talking about?
All right. Well, gentlemen, we'll move to the next issue. But if you just join us here on the show, you can send your comments to us. We're looking at the major issues that have come up this morning, and we've already done the front pages of the newspaper. I have got two of the representatives from the political parties, NPP and NDC, here with me, Kyeremanten, and also I've got Bambere also here with me this morning. Now, the next topic that we want to talk about is the issue of the retired COP, Nathan Kofi Boakye, who has come up strongly as the one who is likely to be the running mate of former President Mahama if they decide that they're going to drop Professor Nana Adjumani. Let me start from Kyeremanten.
Yeah.
What do you make of this? Is it something that the NPP is supposed to be worried about? I mean, obviously, we all know the track record of the retired Commissioner of Police and what he's likely to bring on board, and also the fact that he's coming from Kumasi, which a lot of people believe that will be a very strong case for the NDC if they decide to put him on as a running mate.
Well, the NDC over the time has always found themselves in a quagmire as to who they are going to pick to go with their current flag bearer.
It was not that difficult for them to suggest or settle on Professor Nana Adjumani, was it?
It was. It was, if you knew the boardroom wrangling that went before they went to
It happens in every political party,
Oh, yeah,
including the NPP.
But, you know, I'm talking about the NDC. And now they're talking about the retired police COP, Kofi Boakye. You know, I don't underestimate the competence of the retired police officer. And whatever...
Try and speak up for me, please.
And to whatever is happening in the NDC, I personally, that is their own problem to handle. But because NDC is a public entity, the NPP as a party must show interest. And whoever is paired with John Dramani Mahama, we are sure of beating them to their own game come election 2024. You see, the 2024 election, as we all know, is going to be run on records. And they know. So they are running away from it. And they have understood that the last election, they have performed abysmally as far as elections are concerned. So they are now looking at how they are going to actually, you know, reinforce their presidential candidate, the incompetent John Dramani Mahama, of which I know he is not going to go or fly anywhere. But that said, they are at liberty to bring whoever they want to bring, even if it's from the Ashanti region. But you remember, when Kobina Dufour was to campaign with John Dramani Mahama, he was told that before they can become presidential candidate, they should go and win parliamentary seats in their constituency. In a way, trying to tout that the former finance minister's constituency or home region is not a fertile ground for the NDC to thrive. So, you see, if they are thinking of bringing somebody like that, I don't even know how they are going to improve. In fact, their gains will even go down the more.
That's what you think?
Oh, that's what I think. Because people are every day Ghanaians are becoming so much discerning. As far as our body politics is concerned, we can no more go about deceiving Ghanaians, or especially in our various trying to play sectional politics or the archaic type of politics that we used to do. People now want to see the kind of leadership Ghana is going to present as far as our local politics and international appeal is concerned. So whoever they bring, even if they will have to...
The NPP is ready for them.
Oh, we are ever ready for them. And then you see, just like the vice president said, he knows how to beat John Dramani Mahama. He has beaten him twice. So when he is given the nod, he will beat him again. And so the NDC today, as we speak, we are looking at how we are going to catch more of our campaign message in 2024. We don't see the NDC as a threat. There might have been a lot of, a bit of issues that we faced in election 2020, and we are working to make sure that we iron out some of these differences.
Some of the people in your own party believes that Asin of what happened over there is an eye-opening for you. You're not worried about that?
I don't see why people try to discuss so much about Asinov. But what happened?
It's of no relevance.
What happened
as far
at
as
Kumeu?
2024 election is concerned?
What happened at Kumeu? A certain parliamentary candidate.
Kumeu was a total NPP situation. I mean, we all know.
Likewise,
Asinov was more or less had to do with whose messages will be received by the people.
So who was holding the seat there?
Oh, obviously.
It's the NDC.
Yes, but...
And it is the same person.
So you think it's just a replicate of what of Kumeu?
Oh, yes. It is their seat. So they went for it. So I don't see,
Okay.
It is just like we had at Kumeu. We went for it. It is our seat. And then Asinov
But you were very confident of winning that seat. You were extremely confident about it. In fact, your people, your party members were very agreed of what was happening on the grounds, and they were complaining about it.
Nobody goes into election with the mindset that I'm going to lose. Yes, we believe that based on our track record and what we have done, people will actually come with us.
And it didn't happen. Is that not a cause to worry?
No, it's not a cause to worry. It is never a cause to worry. You see, in our political space, if you understand the political dynamics and whatever goes on, whatever happened at Sinov is nothing to worry about.
Okay.
But we have spent so much discussing it as if it was an MPP seat that we lost. Over the years, when you look at by-elections that happened, we have in 2015, where a certain MP in Talensi, that MPP actually lost. But if you know what went in there, the NDC makes it look like, this is the first time something like, what happened in Asinov has happened, where people have to go overnight to do certain things, trying to bring projects, when there were already ongoing projects. We know that in this country, the government has initiated a lot of projects that were ongoing until the unfortunate disaster happened, that a lot of things had to come to a halt, because a lot of foreign agencies have to travel back to their countries. A lot of projects came to a halt. And we also have whereby, flow of funds had to be truncated. So whatever happened at Asinov, for me personally, I don't take it to be a problem.
Okay.
But you see, we will strategize and then we come back. And let me assure you, Asinov is not even MPP's target. We have our targets.
Okay. Really? All right. Very well then. Mambo.
Let me pick it from where he ended. He said that Asinov is not their target. Really? One of their constituency chairman revealed again that at his own police station that was assigned in Asinov, they gave him not less than 600,000 Ghana cedis. I hope you heard it. Approximately 60 billion cedis. Something that they are not targeting. Something that they do not have. They do not have any
interest.
Isn't it absurd? They say all manner of things. that they are going to break the 8 and Asanoff will be the test case. After they had gone there, spent so much of money, looking at the injustice that they dispense at the current MP, Jechikwesi, looking at humiliations, embarrassment, intimidation and threats coming from the president himself, that they shouldn't vote for somebody who will be going to court, eventually be jailed. A prejudicial statement like this. In all of these things, and on top of it, 200 Ghana cedis, and they lost miserably. In fact, the vote dwindled so miserably comparing to the 2020 result. And you sit here and say that it is not necessary, or it wasn't necessary, or you are not interested. Really? And he said what? Asanoff, we were holding the seat, so it was ours. Why did you then go to Asanoff and campaign? Why did you go there to campaign? In fact, the entire government machinery was at Asanoff. Everybody saw it. Something that you were not interested in, something that you were not for. You spent a whole huge sums of money. Others were even saying that the first tranche of 600 million from the IMF was sent there. Because it was just strange. And he sit here and said what? You have been humiliated by the good people of Asanoff because of economic failure and excruciating hardship that they are all going through. We had Park Esundom at Breku. Today, Park Esundom Breku, Park Esundom Giant Bank, it's no more there. We have cocoa farmers in Asanoff. How much are you giving to them per the bag of cocoa? Approximately, they should not get less than 1,600 Ghana cedis, which is 60 million. Pegging it at the price of cocoa at the global market, around 2,000 plus. When you divide it by the tons, we have 16. It is 16 bags that makes a ton. You clearly know that government even owns them. So when you are giving them 200 Ghana cedis, they think that you still own them some amount of 1,400 that you have to give it to them. They were all experiencing some of this hardship. If you're a cocoa farmer today, you cannot even buy a packet of intensine. Compared to John Mahama, inflation is on the high ascendancy. All these things inform the people that they will never give you the nod.
Okay.
And then you sit here and say that Asanoff was not.
So let's move on to this the CEO commission.
I'm coming. And then he said
we don't have much time.
Yeah, so. Don't worry, I'll just wrap up on this matter very soon. He said that Kumewu it's nothing. Kumewu too, you indicated that there, but Kumewu, what happened in Kumewu? Kumewu, do you know that MPP lost? Technically, MPP lost. Well, we increased in vote by 1,000 plus. They dwindle. They appreciate little over 300. That should tell you.
So that's a loss for them.
That's a loss. That should tell you how people are eager to vote against this super incompetent, corrupt government of Akufo-Addo. If we are to organize any by-election at any swing constituency, NDC will win. And it's a fact. Okay. So what happened in Asanoff is just a dress rehearsals into 2024.
Okay.
And we're going to apply Asanoff formula. What is the formula? When they bring the money, take it, chop it, and vote against it, because you cannot trade off your life for peanuts. You have already traded off your life for this period of Akufo-Addo government. And what have you seen? What have you gained? You have lost miserably. He talked about the fact that whatever in
but that should be the last one, so we can get it.
No, I'm talking about the COP.
Okay, good.
He said that whoever that NDC will bring, that is not of much concern to him, because we have dwindled in vote when we brought Professor Nana Jinupoko Ajimai. I think you heard him right. You are a very kind person. You just allow them to flow even when they are peddling falsehood, because what he said was not born out of facts. What are the statistics? In 2016, John Mahama had a little over 4.2 million votes. Am I lying? In 2020, did he appreciate in vote or he depreciated in vote? John Mahama appreciated in vote by more than 2 million votes. Was that a reduction? So what is he talking about? He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Look, the current rate or the current state of this country, even if my brother converts to NDC and become the flag bearer, he will still win election for NDC. Yes, even if he becomes the flag bearer of NDC, this MPP man, my brother, if he's converted to the NDC and made the flag bearer of the party, he will still win the election.
The NDC is that powerful now.
It is not just the NDC is so powerful. The people of Ghana are fed up with this incompetent government. A government that is more about tyranny, a government that is all about covering corrupt officials, including the president himself, who was described by Martin Amidu as the mother serpent of corruption. A government.
Those were allegations, by the way.
You see, some of these things, when you talk, then you say it's allegation. They said that corruption perception index, when your mama scored 43% in 2016, they use it against him, isn't it?
It will still be described as allegations if the facts are there.
But they use it against. But how is it allegation? You will just have to go to the people and ask them how they are feeling. Otherwise, then
the people will give you based on the answers that people
exactly.
Will give
otherwise, there will be no need for research. But when you just treat research as a sheer perception, then there's no need.
There's some research that have been criticized, highly criticized.
Whether they criticize or not, we should look at the content of it and the methodologies being used. That is the most important thing. So it is not true that the NDC dwindled in votes. You see, as I said, even if you are made the flag bearer, will win because of the current state of the country. 2, COP Kofi Boakye is a fine gentleman. Nobody hits him. He's a Ghanaian. He deserves to be the flag, bearer,
running mate,
or even a running mate. But let me correct my brother to also say that he said President Dr. Bawumia has beaten your mama twice.
Those were the words of Dr. Bawumia, by the way.
How can has he
said he's beaten him twice?
Has he contested
and so
an
he
elections?
Said he's not really.
You see, this man has lied to the extent that you cannot even see what. I mean, you cannot get interest in whatever he says now. How can you say you have never contested? Has Bawumia contested any election in this country? Has he ever contested an election? Who?
Well, maybe in the capacity of a vice president.
But
the vice president forms part of the president's team.
No. Who did we vote for? President Akufo-Addo, and Bawumia was the vice chairman. Vice president. Who today has run away from the economy to digitization. Even when digitization is not reflecting in the pocket of the people.
But you know, if the president is not around, the vice president is the president.
That is the constitutional provision. But when you are going to
it makes him a perfect candidate for that position too as well.
You see,
so if somebody decides that I want to vote for President Akufo-Addo, he may want to also look at Bawumia as well.
As for Bawumia, the least said about him, the better. He said that I and my wife have been going to Malata and check the prices of or price development of commodities. In 2016, when I and Samira Bawumia visited Malata market, the inflation was a little over 15.4%. We took inflation in 2008. Go and check 2008 inflation. It's around 18.1%. Reduced inflation at the time we were leaving power. Meanwhile, Bawumia was saying that we're incompetent. Today, what is the inflation rate? The thing that you used to buy with 10 Ghana cedis, today you cannot use the same thing to buy. Go to the Makwala market, go to the Agbogbreshi market, go to Mankesi market, how people are crying.
It's been attributed to a lot of factors.
Which factors?
You don't think those factors are genuine?
The only factors which they keep doing and worsening the case is printing of money from the central bank, indicating that they are doing that to plow out liquidity or excess liquidity from the system. They do so and be compounding the situation. The other factor, which they promise that they will never do, that we will move this country from tax production, is what they are doing now. A lot of taxes, to the extent that sanitary pad has more than 40% tax on it. He sat here and said that, people with micro loans or living with the interlands who are within the poverty bracket need not to be worried and all that. Today they are taxed. Mobile money that Bawumia said that they are not going to be taxed. Mobile money is being taxed. The same Bawumia said that when fundamentals are weak, they exchange it to what? Expose you. According to the IMF, their own data that they presented to the IMF, it said that from 2021 till date, the city has depreciated more than 50%. In under the watch of Bawumia as the economic management team, the cedi become the worst currency in the whole of Africa. Do you know what it means? What it means is that if you are an importer, you will spend more under the watch of Bawumia as economic management team leader than President Mahama. If you are a cocoa seller, you will spend more under the watch of Bawumia than President Mahama. If you are a bulk oil distributor who buys fuel and give it to the oil marketing companies for us to go and buy, you will spend a lot of. This is the situation where we are facing in this country, created by Bawumia. Is it not this Bawumia who said that they will not borrow because he has worked at Bank of Ghana before and there's enough of money? In fact, we even need the tow boats to do roads. Today, where is tow boats? And where is our debt stock? More than 600 billion. They could not show a single thing that they have used the money for. They cannot even mention, if my brother is able to mention one single monumental project or central government project that they have used this money for, I'll clap for him.
Okay.
This is Bawumia we are talking about. Bawumia has done a great disservice to this country, not even you and I, but investors. Do you know that when Bawumia said that inflation has become problematic, even when it was 4%, and so they should vote for Akufo-Addo to become the vice president to change the dynamics, it changed the investors' opinion on the system. Today, why are those investors? They are running away. Check Ghana Investment Base Index. It is running negative 24%. All these people, based on the lies told by Bawumia, and voted against President Mahama. The only solution now, it is not Bawumia. Bawumia has caused a mess. So what is he going to do? He has been described as a non-strategist.
And that's the person the NPP feels that you are scared of. By the mere mention of his name,
we are only scared of someone who is a pathological liar. He promised us that he's going to, under his word, there is not going to be a single bank that will collapse under his word. He made this statement at Central University, September 2015. Today, under his word, 423 banks, savings and loans, 423 financial institutions comprising savings and loans, mutual funds, trust companies, universal banks under the watch of President Mahama. How did any universal bank collapse? But today, Bed Bank, Heritage, Park Esindu, Construction Bank, they have all collapsed. When you have your money there, a lot of capitals have been locked up there. The spine of the economy is wailing. It's at the mark. How the economy triumph.
Okay.
Wrap up for me. Coupled with a financial service levy of 5%. When you have collapsed the bank, you have also added another pain to it by giving them tax. So, when you are talking about this man called Bawumia, he is the reason why we are the IMF. Now we have known that he is a strategic liar. Because a strategic liar who portrayed that he knows it all and he can use books to lure Ghanaians. Today, he's no more talking about the economy. Even digitization that he's talking about, he has no idea, because if you are talking about digitization, it should reflect in the price development. If you are talking about digitalization, it should reflect in the unemployment situation that we face in this country. If you are talking about digitalization, it should reflect in the digitalization. If we are properly having an industrial policy, who would have been going to the IMF?
Okay, so let's take a look at...
The point is that President Mahama has settled on Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman.
Okay, that's what it is.
Simple. We are not going to argue on who becomes, running mate and all that. Because if President Mahama with Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has been able to appreciate in vote by over 2 million,
like they did,
why should we even change
that's more like a winning team.
Why should he? Yes. So why should he change it? And that is why I said that on a lighter vein, even if he is made a flag bearer of the NDC, we will still win the 2024.
That one I'm sure you disagree, but it's also another issue that we'll look at. But our next issue will be on the national service personnel and some statement that has been made by the president. We'll look at that. But some of the messages over here. This one says NDC, the VP position for the youth. The NDC need to go for one of the young, vibrant, sovereign politicians to partner with the JM to position the party for foreseeable future. The youth are the future of Ghana and must be part of building strong fundamentals for Ghana. The NDC. Okay, trying to mess something good. fundamentals for the Ghana they want in the next 4 decades. Okay, I got that. Let's see if we have another message over there we can read. This one is from Kofi. This one says, Kofi Boachi's name emerges. It's a very good decision though, but no rush for now. He will bring sanity into the 2024 elections seriously. Bob P actually sent in that one. As Njay Mitchell, he says that like Akufo-Addo and his cohorts are in trouble. These buffoons have enjoyed further for all for far too long. Please send your messages without insult or any of that. Okay. This one says that Kofi Boachi campaign, and he's laughing actually. That's another message from Vote for Free SHS, which sent in that one. Okay, is that all we have? Okay, so let's look at Mrs. Viola's issue about national service personnel, and she's actually entreating that we are able to put national service personnel to the field where they have studied, so that if they get there, it will be easier for them to actually learn on what they have learned and then be productive in society, instead of putting them in certain places where they have to now go and see how to adjust and all of that. I don't know what you make of it, Kamara. I'll start from you.
Yes, so you see, as usual of the NDC, when I was speaking about the running mate of the NDC, I never said when they appointed Jane Nana, their vote actually doing it. I said the boardroom wrangling, what went into her appointments. We were looking at people coming out with names, something like the fine COP that they are making.
So they have difficulty getting someone to be the running mate.
So you see, the NDC, their style of communication is to set their own questions and answer them. But you see, I want him to know, the former Tamale lawmaker, former Tamale Central, Inus Officini, said Bawumia won the election. It is not from the NPP. A respected person, Inus Officini, said that Bawumia won the election. So whether they like it or not, whether they take it or they leave it.
So it wasn't the president that won the election.
Look,
it wasn't Akufo-Addo that won the election.
It's not that. You see, winning an election is a teamwork, and out of the team, we know the one who is always the pop-up. Look, there is no day or nowhere that an NDC communicator will say something, even the entire NDC, without mentioning the name of the vice president. If you people think that he is a weak candidate among the rest, why are you always bringing up his name? Then you should always make sure, then you should campaign that he should be elected, because he is somebody you think you can beat easily. You see, but the vice president name has always been there. If we are going to talk about corruption, this is a vice president under Mills who, for the first time, a vice president is being investigated by his boss. Why? Because of corruption. We know what the amount, the $30 million that is being donated, that was given by the EO group to develop the Western region. We know where it ended. You see, so when they are talking, and sometimes we don't want to delve into it, sometimes they force us to bring certain unpalatable things. But to them, they don't see anything wrong with that. But you see, when we get there, I believe their mouths will run back to their noses. And then you see, he tried to downplay the importance of digitization in our economy. But I am not surprised, because the NDC has always lacked the understanding, trying to connect a digitization to our economy. Today, the world is moved by technology. Whether you like it or not, go to the Western world. Technology makes our lives better, increases productivity. Technology. Countries are leveraging on technologies to make their economy move better. Today, a lot of things, today you sit in your room, you can, just mobile interoperability. You can do a lot with it. Just with a click from your bedroom. And you downplay saying that he is no more talking about economy. He is now running to digitization. And then you flipped and said, oh, he doesn't even know anything about digitization. So that is how they are. They are just trying to lie and trying to, that he is a liar. He doesn't even know what he is talking about. we are trying to bring about that we are moving away from taxation to production. Look, building an economy is a process. It's not an event. And the impact will be felt. You cannot tell me that because we have implemented free SHS today, you are not seeing the impact. That is very infantile.
But the NPP said the same thing in the NDC's time. When they spoke about infrastructure, you said that you can't eat infrastructure. You need to see it reflecting. You didn't say that it takes time.
They have touted themselves.
You were arguing that,
let me tell you.
But can we eat infrastructure? When you know that in the next 10 years or 15 years, Rich Hospital will be useful. All the other hospitals will be useful.
So if we are going to go into those kind of infrastructures, let me tell you, when we implemented the free SHS has actually exposed the NDC. As far as they said they have built everything.
I'm not arguing based on the policy. I am only arguing based on what you said, that they didn't know that the free SHS and the policies you are making would take time because you're building an economy.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in their regime, the same issues were said about them, that, is that buildings the one that we're going to eat? We wanted to see reflect. You never said that it would take time for Rich Hospital to be useful. It would take time for other projects that we're doing to be useful.
Projects like the Rich Hospital and other major projects that they have taken.
Because they were touting infrastructure at the time.
Including the
and you were arguing that
including
that's not what you eat.
The NPP never came out to say, actually downplay
but there were comments like, Adania baby, we need money in our pockets and all of that. But you say that progressively.
You see, the kind of touting they were touting themselves and then trying to let Ghanaians know the magnitude of the infrastructure they have actually sunk. It's not actually
that was the argument.
You see? And that is why we came out and said, is it infrastructure we are going to eat? Because they have never even done the infrastructure.
Really?
And look, let me tell you, you see, when NPP came to power in 2017, has actually exposed them how. Trust me. When we go into hospitals, the Eurojet projects, they came, they abandoned them. Housing projects, they abandoned them. And then that's why we were telling, when you people were borrowing the money, what were you using the money for? You have cancelled a lot of flagship programs. These allowances that you have cancelled. You could not even, we had issues with, salary arrears and promotion issues. You could not even pay, but you were still borrowing. What were you using it for? That's why they said they used it for infrastructure. And they can't even account for the infrastructure. And we all remember when John Mama's parliamentarians or whoever saying that they were deducting some amount of money to actually build cheap compounds. And we know where that money went. When they later on went to the Controller and Accountant General and requested for those monies back. But they still say, they were doing infrastructure. And do you know what they were doing about it? When you come down south here, they say, they have done it in the north. You go to the north and they tell you that they are doing it down south. Then you go to a place like Wa and you are talking about cycle interchange. You go to Tamale Central, they are talking about cycle interchange. They have done infrastructure. That has been their campaign.
Okay.
So you see.
So yeah, just move on to. I think we'll do this very brief on the national service issue. Maybe 2 minutes each.
Yes, I will also urge. You see, when you look at the number of students, more often than not, that are always churned out. You see, a lot of them, we don't have much space to actually absorb them as far as their expertise or their area of
study
are concerned. And, all these things boil down to the expansion of our economy so that a lot of spaces can be created. Say that whatever program that you have pursued at the university, then at least you are sent there, at least to gain the experience more. And I will also, it's a call in the right direction, and I think the National Service Secretariat should also look at it. But when you look
there have been too much complaints about that. I mean, even some of the students have complained, coming from where they are and then taking them to where they are new and, they have to struggle.
You see a student that pursued maybe psychology or sociology, then he's being sent to work in the bank.
Yeah.
And an administration student or finance student is being asked to go and be at the cornfield or the farm of the National Service Secretariat. Actually, it doesn't. They should look at it, streamline their ways of posting to actually make sure that people get benefits. Today, specialization is very key as far as our economic developments are concerned. And if students should study a particular course, and when they are supposed to come out and actually get hands-on experience as far as their programs are concerned, and they don't get it, by the time you even finish with your service, whatever is learned in the university is lost, and you need to start again. And to enable them build their better CVs, they should be sent to where their expertise are. And when you look, most of our university programs, I think our curriculum should be looked at the university. Today, specialties like the sciences and the businesses are few. And then when you go to the social sciences, that is where majority of the students are coming from. Majority of the graduates are coming from. And we don't have a lot of, space as far as those places are concerned to actually fit them. That's why we find students whose area of specialization are not being met and they are being sent somewhere else. Though the human factor is also there, you cannot discount that, whereby people find their ways and means to actually get where they want to go. But I think that posting them to institutions or areas whereby they can get hands-on experience as far as their programs of studies are concerned is very important, and will actually go a long way to help them build their better CVs and then to pursue that path as far as moving higher is concerned.
All right, great. Let me come to you, John.
In fact, it's sad. I threw a challenge to him to mention one single thing that they have used over 570 billion borrowed within the space of 6 years. Close to 50 billion Ghana cedis interest payment. Interest payment and amortization, that is loan due for payment. According to your 2023 budget, when you put together, it is 72 billion. In 2016, that we left power. Baumia claimed that we have increased the interest payment to 11 billion. Therefore, hell broke loose. Today, despite this amount of money that is going solely by interest payment alone, and over 575 billion, they cannot mention one single hospital they have built. I can count of University of Ghana Medical Center. And what is that is that the things or the diseases that we cannot, gone with the days we cannot look at, today we can, have some interest in it, because we'll be able to provide healthcare delivery to that particular illness. And so people cannot, or people are not being transferred to South Africa to go and then pushing the economy of South Africa by way of paying health bills and those stuffs. All this money are here because of President Mahama. You can mention Dodo Hospital. You can mention Ridge Hospital. You can mention Bank of Ghana Hospital. You can mention Maritime Authority Hospital. They should mention one. And will you just little over 80 billion Ghana cedis for 8 years? Talk about the polyclinics. You talk about Eurojet project. Go to the Eurojet website. All the amount of money. There were 9 Eurojet projects that was proposed to have done under President Kufuor's time. They were not able to secure a funding for that. In 2014, between 2010 and 2014, all over $300 million were secured from Eurojet, the Grad, Egypt. Go to Parliament and check the parliamentary hazard, and you can even Google Eurojet website. Just 9. President Mahama built 25 apart from this project that he secured funding. He built 25 polyclinics, including my constituency. Biruwa Polyclinic is part. Central Region alone, we built 12 polyclinics. You go to Mancro, some is there. You go to Ejumako, some is there. Biruwa Infantma, it is there. You go to Asinov, some is there. Talk about community day senior high schools. 123. Some were 42 were completed. Some were at various stages of completion. They promised, Baumia promised at 350 community day high schools. Community schools. They haven't built one, despite this whooping amount of money that they have used us to go and borrow. That today, all the credit ratings, as at February, Ghana has been downgraded to ID, which is restrictive default. We have reached a point where we cannot pay our investors. That's the reason why today we are doing debt restructuring. Did we do debt restructuring under President Mahama? No. To the extent that a pensioner has been affected. To the extent that ordinary person, you and I, who has invested in these credit agencies, who has invested in banks, you have your money restructured. Former Chief Justice, what is the name? Under your own watch, this woman was appointed by the President Akufo-Addo. She picketed together with retirees. It's so sad that this thing was happening in this country, all because of borrowing. Yet you could not be able to mention one single project that you have used the money for.
Okay, so our time is up. So
yes,
let's speak on the national service issue.
I said that. Oh, why are we talking about Bawumia? That is the problem. Bawumia is the problem of Ghana, so we keep on mentioning it. And that problem can only be solved by President Mahama.
How is Bawumia alone the problem of Ghana?
Yes,
when he has a team he's working with.
All the things that are showing negative trajectory.
He has a president who's actually, being a vice president.
He didn't run for elections.
Bawumia, when Akufo-Addo was voted into power and Bawumia became the vice president. In fact, even before he became the vice president, he made Ghanaians to know that he is the Messiah. He is the epitome of wisdom. In fact, after the professors at the university taught Bawumia, all those professors died. So we go to the university without no professor. So that was the paint. I mean, he painted to us, or the picture he painted. The picture he painted to us. Do you understand? So he is now running away from the core things that he said to lure Ghanaians into voting for them to come to power. Now you talk about this digitization. Yes, I said digitization, but I doesn't understand, because when you are doing digitization, it will not help you increase taxes. Rather, it will help you increase your tax base. How do you increase our tax base? If you are doing proper digitization, you'll be able to attract or get all the companies who are not on our tax net to be on board. So you increase your tax base without increasing the tax. That is proper digitization.
Okay.
In any case, President Mahama laid fiber optic.
John, you have
what was the fiber optic about? It was as a result of improved interoperability. Before President Mahama, were you having 3G? We are not. But President Mahama, due to the investment he quoted into that venture, we're having 3G, 4G. When it comes to power, we'll move to 5G.
Okay. National service issue, and then let's close. Our time is up.
National service issue, the saddest aspect of the whole thing is that, as we speak, do you know that despite this macroeconomic variables that are showing negative trajectory, they are still receiving little over 500 Ghana cedis. The inflation is 42.5%. T-bill rate is around 29%. Okay, go to the market and see the cost of items or commodities. Talk about the transport. And for almost 4 months, they have not paid them. So if they are talking about national service, it's supposed to be the welfare of the personnel. During my time, I was a national service organizer. We pushed for the increment of the allowance. And President Moss listened to us and increased it. President Mahama came, he also increased it under the watch of President Akufo-Addo. Despite all these billions of Ghana cedis that have come to their custody, they have not been able to increase it, and yet they are not able to pay it. This is what we need to talk about, and we expect you to send this message to the flag servers that the national service personnel, all that they are interested in is this little amount of money that we give it to them, that for the past 4 months that we have not given them. That is what they want, and not you sit here and brush the issue or treat the issue trivial as you are doing.
Okay, very well. Gentlemen, let me say a big thank you to you this morning for joining me here on the show. Osman Kyeremanten is actually from the NPP communications team, and we had finance expert and NDC communication team member, John Bambiru, joining us. And they joined us for the very first time. They're going to be here again here on the show, but I'd like to say a big thank you to you. I'm grateful that the two of you were able to join us this morning. We'll still have some more coming up. That will be all for News Flash this morning. Sports is coming up. We've got the conversation around entertainment. Rosalind Felly has got a health conversation also coming up as well. So you might want to stay because there are issues that you really want to know more about. And you can send your messages ahead of time. If you've got anything you want to ask, if you have any clarification you want to also make sure that you send your messages. Our WhatsApp line is on your screen and it's very active as well, so you can drop your messages over there. And please do well to go to our social media page, like the page and share and drop your messages over there. It's Joy Prime TV on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads, on Twitter. If you're on Facebook, it's Joy Prime. And those are the places where you can also go by way of social media.